What's up, guys? It's pruning time. A little bit late in the year. We got Matthew with our local extension, the extension office, yes? And here in Wilkes County, and he has been kind enough to come out and show us where we have failed on our pruning. So this here is, what are we at, 3 years now, Amber? 3 years on this apple tree. It was in a cage. It looks pretty ragged. In your opinion, where are we at on this, man?
So we're starting to get to the point where we're actually getting to that critical growth range where we want to make sure we're encouraging good, healthy laterals and start getting that world function we want that we see in our bigger apple trees at apple orchards. So when I'm looking at this, first thing I do is height. How tall do I want it to get? Because I mean, obviously we want a central leader, which is great, but that doesn't mean it has to be the tallest one. If you actually look at the center here, this is my central leader. These are not. So this is what I'm going to do in here. Let's go fruit. I know it might seem a little drastic. It's a little hard. I know, it's tough. But this is what happens to prevent our apple trees from getting so tall.
So this is our central leader. We chose this because it's dead center. And these here are basically sucking up a bunch of nutrients. Is that what?
Yes, and that will help our fruit growth. Because if you think about it too, if they're just going straight up there and my fruit load gets heavy, that's going to bend over and break. And we don't want that. And then of course here I can get a little picky. This one here, it's just going to go out. So you think about it, if it's heavy, that branch is going to snap and get damaged on that.
Now, these here that are coming up at a stiff angle, at what point do we start? Well, number one, what point do we trim here at the base?
So for me, are we going to be picking apples right there at the base? No, that's just water spray. So I will go through here and pull this one out and this one out.
Ouch.
Which, when pruning apple trees, we really want to make sure we're not taking off more than 30% of the growth each year, because what can happen is we take out too much and it gets hot here in North Carolina. During the summer, it gets a lot of drought injury, especially if we get periods of drought. And then looking at it, ideally, the hope is then this will grow out over time, but especially right now, since we already took off so much, we're gonna call this good for this one. And then the idea is eventually we'll have a whorl here, maybe a whorl here. Now you can, like I said earlier, you can take a knife and make sure you go through that cambrian layer to get right in there. So you're going to cut in there and make sure you go past the bark into that next layer there. And by notching it, it can naturally induce branching. So it has about a 50% success rate as we find for extension publication. So we're going to go through there, we'll add a notch there, and we might say we'll add a notch here. And the goal will be to make sure then we can have some extra laterals then in the middle versus just a straight trunk. So then we're getting fruit production at the different levels, and then probably next year, as this continues to grow, then we may be getting rid of some of the growth there.
So at what point do we start worrying about training these down? I mean, I remember we talked about in that class of tying these down and training them so we don't have to worry about them breaking. When do we start actually doing that?
Ideally, if we think about year 3, year 5 is when the fruit production really hits. So probably this year we want as much green growth as we can because we want it to have a really good root system, but we also want good, healthy growth habits. So then probably next year at year 4, then we'll start training some of these down, maybe pick 2 or 3 and work on that.
Push it down. Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming out here and giving us these lessons, because we need them. We need them bad.
You're welcome. Extension's always happy to help.